I'm at the bakery for cooking food when my roommate's girlfriend was here and offering her some. I'm from the South. I grew up in New Orleans in Texas. My mom runs a catering business, and the majority of clients were either at home in Louisiana or in Texas. I add this to say that I grew up cooking and helping my mom cook for the business. I was frying chicken and catfish when I could reach the stove and making gumbo and buttermilk biscuits at a very young. I'm currently in culinary school right now. I'm lived in a rented house on the East Coast with my roommate for a year and a half. He's not a friend or anything. We just linked up because we both needed roommates in the area. He's good to live with, and we watch shows and movies together. We hang out and go out for drinks sometimes. I always make friends easy because of being from the South and doing customer service related things since I was a kid. I know how to talk and charm and listen to folk despite being naturally more in the introverted spectrum. My roommate has been seeing his girlfriend for like 6 months. I've met her before and seen her in passing. A roommate and his girlfriend had a 2 week break from school things. She still lives at her parents', so she decided to stay here the whole 2 weeks. I was just doing things as I would normally do. It got weird at first, when I was about to go to mother-in-law and the roommate stopped me and said she wanted to mow. I usually always mow. A couple of days later, I was outside washing my car. I asked both of them if they wanted me to do theirs. She looked like she was going to agree, but he looked at her angrily, so they declined. I cook pretty frequently at home as well, and usually let my roommate have some. So anytime I'd make some, I will say that they could have some, and this will get him peace. Weeks prior, when she was here, and we were all talking, she mentioned this specific kind of cheesecake that she really likes. So I made it send out a group text that everyone could have it. My roommate got upset. I don't see anything as overstepping a boundary, as this is how I treat him and all guests. The other day, he told me how annoying it was to hear his girlfriend talk about how good your roommate and fresh baked bread is. I'm not trying to make him look bad or anything. This is simply how I was raised. If I bake 2 loaves of bread, I'm gonna leave it out for the house to eat. And also, I would like to add, the cheesecake is just common courtesy type thing for me. When his parents come over, I make pound cake because they like it. If a guest is coming, you get make what they like. Nothing odd about picking up their favorite chips or making some tea when guests arrive, just how I was raised. And also, just want to say we generally have a good roommate relationship. We are not best friends, but it's friendly enough. The only change has been when his girlfriend is here. So, no, I'm not looking for new roommates to be adopted or to move, but thanks. Here's some more thing that upset him. I went to the grocery store and asked if anyone needed anything. I was frying chicken and offered the first best prices out to oil to them. I changed the oil to my own car. I used a smoker in the backyard to make brisket. I grill and smoke in the backyard and needed a piece of wood cut into in certain way to hold something up. I cut and nailed some wood together in the garage. And I tend to see the good and best in people. So I was not seeing him as being very insecure and was trying to look at his in a more positive light. But he just texted me and said that I greet his girlfriend in some kind of way, and it's annoying that I say be safe when she leaves the house. I say this to him and everyone when they tell me they are going somewhere. He sent me long texts detailing it's bad that I look her in the eyes when she's talking to me. Oh my gosh, maybe it's time for a new roommate. What do you think? I'm at the bad guy for lying to my mother-in-law about the gender of our baby after she promised to keep it a secret. I didn't really want a gender reveal party, but my husband's family made a big deal about it, so I agreed. My mother-in-law was convinced that I knew the gender and insisted I tell her. I totally didn't, and I told her that fact. She wore me down after a month of bothering me about it. She begged me and promised that she wouldn't tell anyone. This was all in text. I told her it was a girl. I figured it was a 50-50 chance and it will get he off my back. Well, she lied. When we cut the cake to reveal a blue inside, there was a really awkward silence. She had sold literally all of the guests from her side of the family so they could bring appropriate gifts. My friends and family quickly gathered around to congratulate his and our son. She came over and hissed at me that I make her look stupid. I reminded her that she had promised not to tell anyone. She said she had never promised, so I showed her our text conversation. Some of her family were right there when I did that, so they heard her admit that she lied and her never intended to keep that promise. She said that it was a bad move and that I only did it to embarrass her. I again reminded her that I had told her on multiple occasions that I didn't know the gender. My husband wants me to apologize to keep the peace. I probably will, but I don't think I wasn't a bad guy like she seems to think. I'm the bad guy for spending a lot of time in my bunker away from my family. My grandfather was an incredibly talented man who also suffered from paranoid schizophrenia, and he was convinced that the nuclear apocalypse was going to end the human race at some point. So he built his own bunker and then buried the entrance because he was convinced that both the KGB and the CIA were watching him. I wanted to keep the bunker a secret. Yeah, he was a crazy man. My dad inherited his house but never lived there. So when I had my first child in 2018, I got married in 2019. My dad made me an incredibly generous offer for the house. I bought computers that were more expensive than the house. The bunker became kind of an urban legend, mostly because my old grandpa used to tell a lot of crazy stories. But out of the curiosity, I went looking for it and found the entrance. The old man really did it. So thanks to being stuck at home during the uneventful 2020 and 2021, I started remodeling the bunker to look less like a fallout world and more like my own man cave. Everyone loves it, especially the kids, my nephews and friends' children. So the house is decorated to my wife's taste. While I can do whatever I want in the bunker, play gaming, fix computers, set up a whole home server, work from home, etc. However, lately she has been complaining about me being distant and spending a lot of time there and less time with her and our child. She is pregnant again, so she said she was worried, but I just promised to spend more time at the house. After a few weeks, that wasn't enough for her, and she accused me for abandoning her. I'm asking for judgment here because I'm trying to be there for my family, but this bunker feels like it's the only thing that's really mine and where I can actually have a break. But my wife has said she's going to seal the entrance, otherwise I might miss the birth and not even notice. Should I just move all my stuff into the house and forget about it? Am I really being neglectful, or it's just her pregnancy hormones taking? And to be clear, I do help with the house chores and spend time with my son when I'm there, and I have an intercom in the bunker, so my wife can just call me if she needs anything, and I will go up there immediately. And yeah, everybody is asking me this. I spend at least 6 hours at the bunker on weekdays. I work there, so I think it's reasonable, and at least 4 hours on weekends. But yeah, you're right, I need to make an arrangements. I forgot to mention, our son goes to kindergarten, so my wife has time to work and sometimes be alone at home. And guys, I swear I'm taking notes. I'm just trying to understand what I should change about myself and how to talk to my wife about this. Remember that I spend at least 6 hours working, not scratching my belly. My manager allows me to log out early if I finish my work of the day, but can't log out if been working for less than 6 hours. I also spend some time talking with my team. So write in the comments below, what do you think? Am the bad guy for embarrassing a plus-sized passenger on a flight? I just got off a flight from Las Vegas to New York. My assigned seat was a middle seat. and both people next to me were people of size. I wouldn't have any problem with this in any other situation, but plane seats are terribly small, and neither of my neighbors were able to fit comfortably into their seats. On either side of me, my seat neighbor's shoulder was on top of mine, and their thick was on top of mine as well. It was a pretty long flight and was a kind of uncomfortable. So about an hour and a half though, I woke up to the flight attendant and explained the situation as privately and gently as I could, and I asked if there were any other seats available. She managed to find a seat a few rows behind mine that I could sit in. Getting my bag and move were pretty awkward, but the rest of the flight went fine. After I got off, though, the woman I was previously sitting next to was waiting for me. She essentially told me that I had embarrassed her and the other man, and that traveling while plus size is hard enough without people treating fatness like a contagious disease. She also said that I made it a public demonstration to everyone that plus size passengers are an inconvenience and opened the door to fat phobia on flights. I really didn't mean for it to come across that way, but I can understand how it did, and everyone on the flight saw me move. So now I'm wondering whether I should have just stuck it out. It wasn't like I was being suffocated or anything. I'm the bad guy here. I'm the bad guy for saying, "I told you so," to my friend after her boss is being weird now she's told them she's pregnant. A close friend of mine, Mary, is 3 months pregnant. I'm very excited for her and looking forward to being an auntie to her child. However, I did warn her that since she has a promotion expected to come up in the next 2 to 3 months, she should not tell her supervisor or bosses that she's pregnant until the latest possible time required in her contract, like which will be the 7 months. Anyway, she told her supervisor. He asked when she's going to tell the boss, and she admits to him that she wants her promotion and rise, so she's not saying anything until later. This was Friday. She told me this at the weekend, and I told her she was foolish to mention it, and that she would find her promotion becoming tenuous and maybe wouldn't get good work. So this morning, apparently her supervisor asked her when she's going to tell their boss again. Supervisor said he needs to be able to hold interviews to replace her sub, and she also get removed from a long-term matter that she was working on the last 2 months. She called me to complain for advice, and while I did listen to her, I also said, "Well, I told you to expect this if you said something, so I'm not sure what you want from me now." Mary got super mad at me and called me bad friend and said I should be sympathetic to her instead of telling her off and making her feel worse. So I'm the bad guy here. I'm the bad guy for refusing to pay for my in-laws to come on vacation with me. I have been with my partner for 4 years. He has 2 kids with his ex-wife. I have no kids and don't plan to. Our household income is okay. He earns the majority of it. He earns 65% of the total income. The last 4 years, he has insisted that we pay 50-50 into household bills despite the fact that he earns far more than what I earn, and his kids stay with us regularly. I pay half the rent, bills and grocery, which is expensive for someone on my salary. He wants to buy a house near his ex-wife so he can be closer to his kids. So he says it's important that I pick up 50% of the cost now, so that allows him to save more of his money for our future. The money he isn't paying into bills goes straight in his own savings account, not a joint one. He does not really acknowledge he has underpaid the bills the last 4 years. I've calculated he's underpaid between 16,000 to 19,000 pounds. When he first moved in without kids, I pick up all the bills. I paid out over 8,000 pounds in rent and bills. He paid around 1,100 pounds towards food. Not long ago, he asked if I wanted to go away for the following weekend. I said sure, and we talked about where we could go. He then went to visit his parents, and later that evening, he messaged me an Airbnb link for a lodge by the beach to visit that weekend. He asked if this family could come, and he said he would pay more than 50% if I agreed to them coming. I don't have any family, plus his mom and dad have beat cancer recently. I said yes to his folks, and grow up brought the comment and booked and paid for the Airbnb. A few days ago, he wanted to settle the vacation bill and has offered to pay 60% of the total. Have kicked off stating the obvious. There were 7 people in that lounge, and 6 of them were his family. My portion of that bill is 50%. Am I the bad guy here? I'm at the bad guy for telling my friend that their baby's name sucks. Jordan and I do not mesh incredibly well together, but we are part of the same friend group and are cordial with each other. I would like to note that Jordan is not their birth name. They changed their name in adulthood and picked a common unisex name. They are pregnant and just announced the baby name to the group, Arson Europa. Everyone else told them it was a great name. Not sure how many genuinely thought so, versus not wanting to rock the boat, but I came right out and said, please don't give a human being that name seriously. Holy crap, of course, it blew up into a big thing. And for the record, if this kid had the same name but was already born, I would have just kept my mouth shut about it. I only said it because there is still time for them to change their mind. I said arson is already such a stereotypical teenage and B name, and adding the word spelling just make it worse. You're naming an actual person and should not just treat them like an accessory for yourself. It is weird to me that you picked a normal name for yourself and then went so out there for the name of the kid. It's just not a good name, and I can pretend otherwise, sorry. Apparently, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, and it's not my place to speak on such thing, and I went too far and attacked not just the name but their parenthood and self, and was way out of line. I agree that there was definitely a more mismannered way of phrasing what I said, but I think it needed to be said, or at least that I couldn't possibly have been expected to lie through my teeth that it was a good name. I'm at the bad guy for saying I will report my car stolen the next time my brother uses it without my permission. I brought my first car on my birthday. I'm very happy to have this car. I live far away from school, and the closest bus stop is 3 kilometers away because I live on the countryside. My brother was gifted a car on his birthday, which was in December last year. Since I bought my own car, he has been using mine without letting me know first. I've tried to talk to him about it, but he said he should be entitled to using it whenever because I didn't buy it all on my own. I paid for like 90% of it by using money I had saved up by working, and the rest was birthday, Christmas money. So because I used some of the birthday money he gave me, he was entitled to use it. I asked him why he couldn't use his own, cause it's a nice car and there is nothing wrong with it. He said it was because mine was nicer, and he's only had 2 seats, so he had to use mine when he wanted to pick up his friends. I told him to just ask before he uses, and to please fill the gas tank, and that I still had first right to it, because it's my car. Now I might be the bad guy because yesterday I wanted to go to the mall and buy some stuff for my project, and brother came up to me and told me he was talking in the car and pick up his girlfriend. I told him no, because I need to use the car. He told me to walk or just use the bus and took my keys and just left with my car. I called him and said that the next time he takes my car, I will report it stolen. He started crying, saying I was trying to isolate him and keep him away from his friends and girlfriend. I feel so bad, but I'm tired of not knowing if I can use my own car or no. And I'm tired of having to pay for gas I don't even use. But he really seemed upset, so I don't know if I went too far. So what do you think? I'm at the big gate for going on vacation and leaving my kids with my husband. My husband and I have 2 kids, 7 and 5. Last year, me and some of my friends planned a girls' trip to New York, which is coming up soon. This is not a practical long trip, only 6 days including our travel, but we've all been really looking forward to it. Kids will be staying with my husband at home. He has a surgery coming up, which is the day after I get back. Not while I'm away. He's now asking if I can postpone the trip to stay with him and the kids. He's tired and he needs the supper. I replied that this was planned a long time ago and not everyone can postpone. My husband got pretty upset and is kind of turned out not paying much attention to me. I did tell a couple of my family members what was going on, and my sister said I was being kind of selfish. So, what do you think?